What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Strength Solutions Podcast. We're on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. Also, look at us. Look, we're on YouTube right now. I can't believe that.
Oh my God, that's me. I'm on YouTube.
Yeah. Subscribe down below, comment. Then our website is strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. And we have free blogs, free guides, and programs on there for purchase. Look out for Strength Solutions University in the future. Email strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. Social media, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. It's Strength Solutions Podcast. And on Instagram, I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Okay, dude. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
To rock and roll.
Oh, yeah. I want the mic to come down from the top. Are you ready?
Are you ready to rumble? All right. So you sent a video, and there's a guy who was doing curls. And then he was talking about how a cable curl, you see people get stuck in their crotch area. And he was talking about how you can avoid this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the video, he talked about how one's not better than the other. And it made me really think about this is where we need to head in fitness. And I think that's what I really liked about the video. But another thing that he didn't go over, which maybe he just didn't want to add in the video, is you could do single arm version.
Right, during a cable curl.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I think, like you said, that's really important. I had a client ask me the other day, actually, which version of squat I thought was better. And I was like, oh, let me do my little podcast here. He was like, bro, I just asked you questions. Shut up.
Dude, so before we even have this podcast, this is a topic and Nathaniel doesn't know coming in.
Oh, okay.
And look what I wrote on the next thing.
I'm gonna wait.
No. Look at it.
This one here?
This right here.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about the squat and different types of squats.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, I was like, I thought you were going to talk about being a podcast, bro, and like not being able to shut up when you talk. No, yeah. So one of my clients, was actually asking me a question like this, and of course, I kind of went into it a little bit, and I was like, at the end of the day, it just kind of depends on what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to target more of my quads, and maybe not focus on my glutes, or maybe if my anatomy is different, right? Like maybe if I'm a taller person, I'm probably going to feel better in a front squat, right? Back squat's going to feel super unnatural, or I'm going to have to fold over a whole bunch, and it's just not going to be as comfortable of a position. And so, like you said, there's so many different variations, and I think we have to stop choosing like, no, this is the one, best leg exercise, and start talking about like, okay, well, what's the best leg exercise to meet your goal?
Yeah, so let's talk about what the back squat's really good at first. The back squat's really good at overloading the most weight. Getting that anabolic signal probably builds the most muscle, total, right? Not just quad, but hamstring and glutes. That's what it's going to be really good for. For the front squat, I like this to be more quote unquote functional, right?
Yeah.
Because this is where we're going to carry most of our load.
Everything's loaded up front.
Yeah, when we're everyday life, it's loaded up front. The way you have to use your core, the way you have to use your back. In sports, if you are on your heel, you probably lost.
Yeah.
And then the split stance, which is lunges, Bulgarians, things like that, they tend to do a really good job. You're not going to get the most weight out of it. You could build really good legs.
Yeah.
But you're able to work on stability more, left to right, and figure out what side is your weak side by isolating a little bit more.
I've been doing a little bit more of this as of late, and I've noticed that my right side is, significantly different than my left side.
In a good way or bad way?
In a bad way. So, which is funny. Well, I guess it makes sense, right? Because we have like a dominant arm. We also have a dominant leg, and it's usually the cross side, right? So if I'm right arm.
It's not your third leg that you got there?
Well, actually, that one's always strong. That one's always good. So it's like, if I'm right arm dominant, I'm most likely left leg dominant. And I noticed that when I would mountain bike a lot. If I ever had to like a big pause, or if I had to like fall over or something like that, dude, I couldn't get the bike going unless I pressed off with my left pedal. Like if I tried on my right side, I was all like
isn't it crazy? Because most people think you're right-handed, you're right-footed.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. Your body works in a cross section.
In a cross section, right? And so I was doing some just stationary lunges, just kind of like a big wide split stance going up and down. And so like my left side, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Dude, right side, I was like, holy shit. Like I had to focus so much more on keeping my stability. It just felt unnatural. Sort of like when you try and write with your left hand and you're like, how the fuck do I do this? Same concept. Like I was like, oh, I maybe need to do this a little bit more.
Yeah. And then the last one is lateral squats.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like Cossack squats and
Yeah,
stuff like
I
that,
do
lateral
like Cossack
movements, curtsies. They have their role too in stability left to right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times injuries happen because you can't stabilize yourself left to right.
When you're doing sidestepping, right, or quick like.
Dude, have you ever done like a side step up on a client? They're like, oh my God, this is so much harder.
Yeah, I do Cossack squats with a couple of my clients, and most of the time we don't use any weight at all. You know, it's just like body weight shifting, getting deep.
Your clients
into
are
that
weak.
position. I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
All, bro, what the fuck?
My clients are using hundreds.
Can't even do 5 pounds.
No, just
what the fuck? So yeah, the ones that I have had done Cossack squats, or right now I'm doing a lot of unilateral work with some of them, and so I've been doing a lot of step ups. Same thing too. It's funny too, because when you do split exercises like that, they also take longer, right? So it's like more time under tension that you're just doing it. So one of my clients today, we were doing step ups, and he was like, God damn, that took a long time. I was like, yeah, it's where a squat, you can kind of just like power through them. I think the one good thing about split stance exercises is that you have to like take it slower. You have to focus on each movement.
Yeah, so like lately I've been doing a lot of side step ups instead of front step ups with my clients.
Wow.
And they're just like, how is this so much harder?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, well, you got to understand your brain has to appropriate itself, and the proprioception is different. Your ankle has to strengthen different and stabilize.
Yeah.
And I think this leads to the point that we really need to get to each movement, even awkward movements that the beard best can be you. I think that's his Instagram. He does really awkward movements.
Yeah.
They're all useful. Jefferson curls. Any movement is useful, where you can pick up a 3-pound weight, be right here in front, go back all the way through, come back, and almost mimic like you're in a car trying to get your purse.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that,
and
right?
it's funny that you mentioned that, because a lot of the times that we see injuries, they're usually done doing something normal, right? It's rare that you see an injury where, you know, whether it's like an athlete or like a car accident or something, and those are like extreme cases, right? But when I was working at the PT clinic, I remember someone tore their rotator cuff doing exactly that, reaching back behind, grabbing something.
They're so strong in one movement plane, they're not strong in others. And a lot of times you probably even saw in the clinic, I was pulling a weed and I just hurt my back.
Yeah, like threw my back out, or like, you know, like I slept wrong and this happened. Or I had one client a while back that she works on like a ranch, and she had jumped down like 2 feet to like from like a step down, shattered both of her ankles.
Dang.
Yeah. It's these crazy things, these like small things that you don't think about that are important and are things that are good to do. And so when you're looking at exercises, if you're thinking, oh, I got to find the best one, I only want to do the best one, or I only do this one exercise, you're really kind of doing yourself a disservice, you know, because there's so many different versions, different variations that could benefit you in a lot of different ways. And if you just stick with one, then, you know, you're not getting all of what you can. Yeah.
And there's a way to program them and do better and stuff like that. Like right now I'm doing a 3-day-a-week full body exercise routine. And then the other days I'm doing more transverse kettlebell stuff. I'm actually working on eye-hand coordination, tossing the kettlebell and catching it.
Oh, that's good.
And I don't think we talk about this. Like I have a client who had a stroke. And right now we're just working on bouncing the ball and catching.
Yeah.
It's a function that we lose because we don't use it, right? And you could just tell like there's a delay.
Yeah, reaction time.
And so working on just reaction time, looking at how your eyes are looking, and all these fitness influencers that we see out there are like, this is what you got to do. No, it's figuring out what you actually really need to do. And this is a big part of creating that Fit Academy for Strength Solutions University, and showing people their steps to go and make you better and educate yourself on what do you individually need along the way. So did you do anything this weekend?
Yeah, actually I had a pretty good weekend. Friday I didn't really do anything at all. Saturday I worked out with my brother. Went and did some max testing again, which I was not expecting. He texted me maybe like 2 weeks before and was like, hey, you want to do this again? And I was like, bro, we just did this. And I was like,
oh, typical guy, Gabriel. Typical guy.
I was like, whatever, I'll go for it. So we went and did that. It was nice to see him. I had some new weights that I'd been trying, and you know, we also tried some stuff that I knew I probably wasn't going to be able to do, but I was like, you know, let me give it a shot and see what happens, and try and grind, and none of it happened, you know. And then later on that day, a friend of ours had a birthday, so we went out there. Sunday had some pool time. which was nice. It was nice to be in the pool. And then I went to go see.
Did you pee in the pool?
I did not pee in the pool. Not this time. maybe later. And then later on that night, I actually went to go see a movie. I went to go see the new Mad Max movie.
I heard a disappointing review on that one.
I heard, so it's doing really bad in the box office. Dude, I'll be real. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really, really good.
You hear it here first, guys.
Yeah.
Do not take movie advice from Nathaniel.
No, I'm the fucking movie guy, dude. And I honestly, same thing. When I first saw it, I really liked the reboot, or I guess like the fourth movie, Fury Road with Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
And Charlize Theron. Fantastic movie. I thought it was really badass. And then when I saw previews for this one, I was like, fucking Chris Hemsworth. I don't know what it is.
Thor gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about like seeing super AAA actors in movies that just makes me feel like, oh, it's gonna suck. Like,
Because you're anti everything.
Maybe, yeah. Camille was saying the same shit about me earlier. Yeah. She's like, did you ever watch this? Do you know a TV show called BoJack Horseman? No. Yeah, see, me fucking either, because you're the same way, Mitch.
Why you gotta call me out like that? You gotta call me out.
I was like, if it's cool, I can't watch it.
Yeah. You know it.
If everybody likes it, I'm like, nope.
I gotta be the first one. If not, it's not gonna happen. Game of Thrones, fuck y'all.
Yeah, that's why, because everybody hates the new Mad Max movie, and I'm gonna be like, nah, it was good. Just to be different, bro. Just to be different. What about you, man?
So I had a boring weekend. I worked a lot on Saturday, and then Sunday we watched this. It was about TikTok dancing. I think it's like You Dance with the Devil. And it was like 7M Management Group. It was a documentary on Netflix.
Oh, weird.
And dude, I love cultish shit. Like there's this dance group called 7M.
7M with the letter?
It's the management team.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And so there's a girl, her and her sister dance, and they make a move to Los Angeles.
Okay.
And then they start dancing. They're getting really popular because that's when the whole craze happened, 2019, 2020, right?
This is like a documentary type
documentary
thing? Okay.
And it's still continue on.
Oh.
And then one of the sisters meets a guy at one of the dance events, and they become boyfriend girlfriend, and they go part of this church.
Ew. They become part of a church.
Then they become part of a church.
Okay.
But this church, you find out later, becomes very cultish.
Okay. What is it? Is it like
they're like working their asses off and not getting any money out of it.
What?
But the girl's sister is still in that cult.
Oh, wow.
Like till this day.
Yeah.
And the only reason it got popular because the other sister went on TikTok with her mom and dad and said, "Oh, our sister, we don't even see her anymore." Because she had to answer all these questions about like, why don't y'all do videos together anymore and things like that. And so yeah.
What is this church? Is it like a religious church?
It's a Christian church.
Oh man, weird, dude.
You should watch it. I'm not going to tell you much more.
There's another documentary. Not
I love
like
cults.
That. Yeah,
it's interesting to me to see how quickly it is to fool people.
So
right?
I think that you would like one. I can't remember the name of the movie, but the name of the cult is Twin Flame. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
I think you'd like it because it has to deal with relationships,
okay.
and I think that you would really, really enjoy that one. It's pretty cool.
It's on Netflix.
It was. So I'm assuming it's still there.
Twin Flame.
Twin Flame. Yeah.
Like, give me like a
Okay,
what
so
a basic.
it
like,
is
but what do you mean about relationships?
So it's these two people, and they create this concept called twin flames, which is like your soulmate. And they say, like, if you ever find your twin flame, like, if there's this whole process of like an awakening and being able to find them and know that. And they're like, if you find them, then you literally need to do like anything and everything in order to be with them.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so it like gets insane, like the shit that they like, cause they'll come and be like, oh, so-and-so put a restraining order on me. Like, I don't know what to do. Like there's my twin flame, like y'all said. And they're like, well, you need to like go break the restraining order, and you need to go to where they work and tell them, and all this stuff. It's like,
no way.
Yeah, bro. And it's crazy because like the extent that these people will go to in order to like fulfill this need for like a stable like partner that's going to be with them through everything and love them through all that stuff and all these things they're promising them and stuff like that. You should watch that one. I think
dude, it's I don't know. It's mind-boggling.
You're my twin flame, bro. Yeah.
Me too.
If you ever restrained ordered me, I'll just show up at your house. Be under your bed.
Man is be like, what the fuck is he doing here?
Yeah. He's my twin flame. I don't know.
Dude, it just mind boggles me how easy it is to like manipulate the mind.
Yeah.
And how it makes me think about fitness and like CrossFit's the answer. This is the answer, or this diet's the answer, and it just goes on and on in this vicious circle. And it's like, how we need to teach people how to think for themselves and see what they really need.
I think it just comes down to the fact that people are just like looking for something
to hold on to,
they're
right?
Looking for like an answer, something to hold on to. Like you said, whether it's something as crazy as like love, or whether it's something as simple as which, group I'm going to belong to when working out. Everybody's just like looking for that thing to like belong, and I think that's when it like creates all these issues.
Yeah. And then even like making excuses and how like the brain gives you the runaround or looks for someone to be like, oh, he likes me or she likes me.
Yeah.
Dude, because I remember when I was like single, I was like, oh, she likes me or whatever. Like, like you're always like,
That's
oh,
true,
yeah,
bro.
she likes me, right?
That's true.
And you like put these things in your head.
I believe everybody is like, I'm like, guys, stop.
Oh, she wants me.
I'm just trying to enjoy my drink.
She wants the D.
Leave me alone.
No,
I can't get my number out anymore. I can't.
His number is 555. No, I mean, it's amazing. Like how I remember there's this one video I send to my buddy Jacob, and it's this girl, he gave me like extra sauces for my Burger King thing. He must like me.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like that dog that goes like that side eye, right?
It's like,
Yeah, I was just laughing.
I don't know,
dude.
man. That might be true. Might be.
Speaking about the mind, dude. U.S. needs to mind their business because Mexico just elected their first female president,
right? I saw that.
So I'm not going to pretend I know anything about her policies.
I don't. That's funny because one of my clients, he's an older guy. He's not super into politics, but he'll come in and talk about it a little bit, and I'll talk to him about it. He's really like intermediate. He's super in the middle, and so we
like him already.
Yeah, I like him too. Yeah, he thinks for himself, right? That's the thing. And so he came in today and he was like, "Hey, did you hear that? Mexico just like elected their first female president?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "No, I didn't hear that." And so later,
she's Jewish.
Yeah, he said that too, and I was like, "That's insane, dude!" In a place that's like
80% Catholic.
80% Catholic, I was like, they elected a Jewish person. That's insane. Like, I wonder, number one, how
Marketing.
Or how though? Like how do you market a different religion?
Maybe they start. Maybe they're ahead of us in the United States.
Maybe they are.
I think we have taken a step back in the sense of
yeah.
I don't know her policies, anyways.
Yeah.
But maybe they care more not what the person is, but what they're actually to do for the people.
Yeah, which
Right.
is
What it should be.
what it should be, right? Yeah. So.
Not like I'm a Trump because of this. I'm a Biden person because of this.
Yeah.
I'm a liberal. Like go with people who are to actually help you
Yeah.
and want to get you better.
I asked him the same thing. I was like, I wonder what her policies are, and he was like, honestly, I have no idea. And I also wondered too, does Mexico also have only a 2-party system, or do they have more than one?
I don't know.
He told me that
There's 2 females that were up for it.
Whoa. He told me that there was, he was like, I think there's 3 main parties in
think so
Mexico.
too, yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's what we fucking need, man. 3 parties.
Yeah. They just keep on splitting people. Split.
Yeah.
And then one benefits, the other benefits. And
it's easier to do.
I was literally listening to this guy talk about how they're like, if we tax the rich, we're going to lose a lot of jobs. And he's like, that's so much bullshit. How are they going to make this product?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Crazy.
Crazy. New York. I know you're a big fan of New York, New York. But you're a fan about this. I know you are.
Yeah.
They're going to ban phones in school.
Banning phones in school.
What do you think?
I don't know. I kind of sat and I thought about it, and I thought about my time in school. So I thought about when I was younger, and phones weren't like super, super prevalent, but
Bro, we had bricks when I was in, school.
We had phones.
I was born in 1940.
Yeah, like used coal. The steam engine phone.
We still actually use real lead in our pencils.
You just had like 2 cans and a string. They were like, put that shit up.
That's my telephone, bro. She calling.
Yeah. You thought it was all discreet. Fucking giant bucket.
Someone else puts a wire on there.
So a bucket on your head. No, yeah, so I was thinking about my time in school, and I was like, you know, we would like pop our phones out at the bottom and like look at them and things like that and text or whatever. Now, I don't really feel like it ever got in the way, but there was also so much less you could do on them. You know? And so
we
now
could play Snake.
Yeah, for real. You know, that cost me $3.99. You know, my parents were pissed. And so now, but like now I have access to literally fucking everything. I have a computer in my pocket. You know what I mean? I can get on YouTube. I can have my, you know, headphones in my ear, everything like that. I don't really see an issue with it being banned, besides, I guess, right, if I had to like go extreme, like maybe in terms of safety, right? Like they may need an emergency, something like that. Then I would say like, oh, well, it's probably a good idea. But otherwise, I'm like, I don't really see the need to have a phone in school. Because even in my case, when I was younger, there was no fucking reason I needed a phone. You know what I mean? Like in class. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I didn't have one.
Yeah, there was no reason that I needed it. I wasn't doing anything special on it. It wasn't helping me in any way. You know, if honestly, it was just a distraction. You know what I mean?
I think it's good that it'll force kids to step away, like, because they're probably here hitting that pad themselves. And they're addicted to it.
The thing is too that like, I mean, I don't really know what it's like maybe in like upper classes and things like that, but even in like my daughter's school right now in elementary school, they do so much shit on like iPads and laptops, and everything is on a screen. Everything. You know what I mean? And so I don't really like, I think that you saying unplugging is actually a good one, because it's like there's just no way to escape it. You're just always in front of a screen.
So I was talking to a gentleman today, and he's been working and since he was a little kid, and he's in his 60s, and we were just talking about like weight loss. And I was like, the hard part about weight loss today is there's no disconnect, and you're always either working, you have an event, you always have something to do, where before you're able to disconnect and work on yourself. And I was like, the goal for you now, I was like, right now you haven't lost weight, right? And I was like, you just had your son come back from college, you all probably ate differently, you had another event. I was like, you're gonna have to pick a month where you don't really do anything.
Yeah, you're right? Gonna literally have to carve that time out.
Like there's too many social interactions. And I wouldn't even say social interactions. I would say like you're always busy doing something for work, family, never for yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to take that like month and be like, this month is for me.
Right.
This leads me to ask, like, I know April was really good for you, but was May good for you in weight loss?
You know, so like I've been keeping track of my weight as of late, and I'm trying to keep my weight where it's at. So I'm around 200 to 205, you know, on depending on the day or whatever it is. 205 high, mostly really between like 2 and 203. My muscle mass has relatively stayed the same. It's gone up as of late, which is good. And so my body fat percentage went down. And so my progress has been through months, bro. Months of super slow muscle addition, right? And really, really slow body fat percentage drop.
And I think that's the most effective way to do it today.
And the one thing too is that as I'm looking at it, like the other day, I think I scanned and I was looking at it and I was like, damn, I can't even really sit here and say that I've done much different. Like sometimes I don't even feel like I'm doing anything, you know, in terms of like weight loss or diet or anything like that. Is my progress hella slow? Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? If I was a client, I could imagine being like, this is too slow. You know, I was expecting it to be way faster or whatever. But mine has been super sustainable. I've been on a consistent downward trend in body fat percentage.
Super slow.
Super slow. Like I'm talking like 0.2% every month. You know what I mean? Like really, really slow. But it's always gone down. Always. You know, and so right now I'm kind of at the lowest body fat percentage I have been in a long time. I've been at lower body fat percentages, but not with as much muscle mass. And definitely not at the same weight. So it's I look completely different than I would have, you know, if I was 160 pounds.
No, I look completely different at this weight than I did 8 years ago when I was
Yeah.
this weight.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Right. Yeah. So it's been a slow trend. May, I think, it was okay. I didn't really. So I usually try and scan once a month. That's all I do is just once a month. And I think I scanned a little bit late in June, right? June. No, it's June now. In May. Yeah, I scanned a little bit late in May and then scanned at the beginning of June just recently. And I pretty much maintained. Like it was about the exact same.
But you probably had things going on in your life last
I did. Yeah. Especially through May, which was like, my daughter was finishing school, I was doing some traveling. There's just a lot going on. And then so now that it's summer and I don't really have as much responsibility, hopefully I can make some more changes. My goal this month is to put on as much muscle mass as possible. In July until like mid-August, me and Camille have an event that we're going to go to, and I'm going to try and cut until then. I'm going to see what I can do. Okay. We got super short.
You got to figure out what this event is later.
Oh yeah. You're going to be like, what the fuck? It's a baby event, so I'm going to wear a diaper and crawl around. Piss my little pants. I know Camille's laughing over there. She's awake.
Oh, dude. I guess I want to talk about this thing you sent me on Instagram. It said what girls eat versus what they put in their hair.
Oh yeah.
It was funny because there's some truth to it, right?
Yeah.
So they said what girls eat is processed food.
Yeah.
But they put a bunch of vegetable, meat,
And
eggs, oils, right, in their hair to keep it healthy. And I think a lot of times we forget in health and fitness, the reason your skin looks good or your nails is because you're eating enough protein and you're eating a bunch of whole foods with a bunch of nutrients.
Yeah.
And it grows from the inside and the cells replace itself over time.
And I think the thing is too that I know in this one I was talking about girls, but this can really go for all of us, right? How many of us are we like, oh, I'm gonna eat like absolute garbage and drink every night, but what's the thing I could put on my face that's gonna make it look better? And it's like we never look at what we're putting inside of our actual bodies, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna use this like tea tree, special blend of all of these oils and things like that, and it's like you could probably eat that same shit and like get the same benefits, if not better. Yeah.
All right, so before we go into the studies, I want to talk about this. And when we talk about muscle, we always talk about like building muscle, but we never give examples of like besides metabolism of why muscle is important.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So if you're building muscle, you're moving more, which actually allows oxygen to hit the brain a lot better, helps a better function of the brain. Studies will tell you this over and over again. You get better brain activity, you're smarter, you're more alert.
Yeah.
Exercise is vital to the human brain.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with my brother on Saturday when we were working out, and I'm gonna like paraphrase a bunch of it. Man, dude, we really gotta get him on the podcast. I think he'd be awesome. But we were talking about how I was watching a video and there's 3 planes of the way that humans live, right? The way that this guy was talking about it in the video. He was saying that there's, we live in a physical plane in our bodies, right? A spiritual plane in, our spirituality, things like that. And I can't remember the third one, but I think he was saying that we live also in like a mental plane. Like, we're also within our thoughts and brains and things like that. And that if you can connect to one of them, you unlock a lot. You met people, or we know of people who are super spiritual, right? And they're kind of like on a different level of humanity, like we look to them for advice and gurus and stuff like that. And I think that in the same sense, when we connect to our physical self, right? If you, like I said, if you can connect to any of those planes, you unlock so much more, right? So when you're in the gym or when you're moving or when you're active or when you're out in nature, if you're hiking, things like that, there's so many extra benefits that happen beyond just being jacked or looking good or, having a fast metabolism and I can eat a cheeseburger and not gain weight. Like there's so many different aspects to it that are important. And, like here, like you have hormones, right? Longevity, like you said, brain function, right? I think that we did a research study a while back where they like had people do a test and then they had them do exercise and then do another test and they all scored higher. Correct. On that. Yeah. And it's like, it's clear, we all know this, that it's so many different things.
Why are the hormones best in people who are fit and have muscle? Right. Why longevity? I mean, if you can move your body, you're less likely to break your hip. you're more likely to live longer. If you lose the ability to grip, we talked about the other day, you can't open stuff and do stuff for yourself. You lose that ability, then mentally it messes with you and you just decline because you just give up.
Another thing too, like outside of those things, a little more existential, I guess, is like how we've talked about how looking fit signals so many things to other people, right? Like it's like, oh, that person has discipline. They care about themselves, right? They care about their health. Like there's so many things that
They must be strong.
they must be strong, right? They must be
a viable partner.
they must be confident, right? You know, all of these things, it signals so much, and it also does these things to you. Like if you do build muscle, you do have to have some discipline. You know what I mean? You do have to have some confidence. You do have to have some like bravery to like take these things on and choose something good all the time.
And I want to say, like, when you say build muscle and look strong and stuff, not you have to have six pack and be ripped up in abs.
Right.
But you have some shoulders, or maybe you see some like leg definition, but maybe they have a small gut, which is okay, right?
Yeah.
Like there's different fitness. It's not just the six pack.
Right.
I want to clarify that, because first visual a lot of people get is like that six pack ripped up guy.
Right. Yeah.
Which actually at a certain point is unhealthy.
Yeah. And I, again, like going back to what we talked about earlier, it does like depend on your goals too. Like, what are you trying to do? What is your sort of definition of it?
All right. So study number fun.
Well,
One,
it's a fun study,
is researchers identify promising protein candidate for metabolic disease treatment.
Whoa.
So they discovered a new appetite suppressing protein and has doubled the potential for new avenues for treating obesity and metabolic disorders in animals and people. So it's NESF1 and NLP. It lowers lipid fat accumulation in the liver cells, which release hormones for hunger.
That's insane, dude. I wonder.
So this may be a difference between tirzepatide, or maybe you'll take this one or that, or semaglutide. So they're just finding other avenues.
And this looks like it's made specifically for weight loss, not in the way that like Ozempic and the other ones are made
diabetic.
for diabetic. Yeah, and then also had this
Byproduct.
effect.
Yeah.
I wonder. I'm assuming that something like this would be more efficient or work better.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting that we're finding to use proteins and things that are already in our body instead of adding something from the outside. That's where science is going.
Yeah.
And we're trying to use our natural mechanisms and be better. Just like we're finding out using testosterone might be very vital to some people.
Yeah.
Or postmenopausal, like trying to get as much as you can to level out your hormones. And you do better with osteoporosis, osteopenia, because now you're going to exercise and move better. And I think we're starting to figure out, like, let's try to use our natural mechanisms instead of entering something from the outside.
Yeah, I like it.
I wonder if there's going to be something like that for pain. So let's say like I get hit, but I can inject a natural protein that.
Have you ever heard of this? One of my clients was telling me about this the other day, that like injecting like a B complex of vitamins into areas that you have injuries in order to like help with like healing and repair. Have you heard of this?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. I was like, I've never come across that concept.
Yeah, I have heard of it, but I don't think the science is there yet.
Yeah, it's more like anecdotal. Maybe.
Yeah. I just want to take BPC 157.
Let me just break your arm and then I'll just put B vitamins on it and see what comes
It's
out.
great.
You grow a third arm. Oh, shit.
Already got a third arm.
This worked too good.
Damn. All right. Second study is intermittent fasting shows promise in improving gut health and weight management. This was a really good study.
Okay.
What I take out of it is that the reason why you get better gut health is, in today's society, you give your gut a break. Right. And I think that's the big part, is a lot of people force feed themselves. They're like, I have to eat 3 meals. I think in bodybuilding world, that's very common. They're like, I have to have 6 meals a day.
Yeah. There
right.
You go,
and sometimes your gut needs a break.
Yeah.
To relax.
I find that after like weekends or just times where I feel like I've been eating really, really bad, I'll take like a day and see like just how long I can fast. What I usually do is I won't eat until I feel better. So, most of the time it's within that day, but it's usually way late in the day. I'm just like, I'm going to let it go. Like just give myself a break, kind of like regulate again, stop feeling bloated, you know, and then once I'm there, I'm like, okay, now I can go and like have a meal or whatever it is. I'm also looking here where they said that they had this protein pacing, where I guess they were taking in protein at certain times of the day or more spaced out. I think that's important too, right?
Yeah, to get enough protein throughout your day.
Yeah, because if you try and eat it all at the same time, it's something else. But I think at the end of the day,
it's the restriction of calories.
it's a restriction of calories and just eating less. I don't know if they have them maybe do like a certain diet, but let's say it's someone who's eating fast food.
There's just less frequently.
4 times a day.
But even if you eat less fast food, let's say you eat 4 times and now you're only eating it twice.
Yeah.
Well, 1, you're restricting calories. 2, you're giving your stomach enough time to digest the previous meal,
Right.
where before you weren't able to digest that previous meal. And I think fasting's necessary,
Yeah.
right? Like sometimes like today is a perfect example. Yesterday I had a rough day. I worked all day. I had one heavy meal in the day and I had one heavy meal like late at night because I didn't get home till like 8 o'clock. And then I woke up swollen and everything. So I had very small, like a couple protein shakes, a protein bar, and then one main meal today. But that's all I'm going to have today because my gut needs that break.
Right.
Because I had such big meals and I could feel it when I woke up this morning. I was all swollen.
Yeah.
I got to get the inflammation down. And it's not like an everyday thing. It's not like I'm going to do this again and then restrict like this again and again and again. I'll do it today and then tomorrow I'll go right back to normal.
Right.
I just think sometimes you need a break.
Yeah.
Like I need a break from this guy here. All right, guys, if you're liking what we're doing, check us out on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. Also on YouTube, check us out. You can subscribe down below. You can leave comments as well. We would appreciate that. Thank you, Asia, for leaving some the other day on our interview with Kim. Also, our website is strengthsolutionspodcast.com. If you're looking for an email, strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. Social media is Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Strength Solutions Podcast. On Instagram, I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
All right, let's go for these questions. First questions. I'm struggling on my back squat. It doesn't seem like I can add depth. What are possible solutions?
Oh, number one, I kind of wonder how far they are from reaching whatever depth they're trying to reach.
So, since we haven't seen the squat, we can't see the video. We could talk about like common reasons why.
Yeah.
I would start with the foot up, right? So the foot ankle mobility. Can you get your knee over your toe?
Yeah.
At least 3 to 5 inches, whether you're short, tall, whether your femur or tibia and fibula are short or tall. Can you get it over your toes? Because that's going to tell me, can you actually add depth through your ankles?
How deep can you squat, right? At the current stage.
And I would argue most people's issues today tend to be feet and ankles because we don't use them.
Yeah.
And you don't have those shoes. I was like, we're stuck in shoes that are like this in plantar flexion all day. So we don't have the capability to dorsiflex. We don't go backwards. We don't push off our feet and toes.
Yeah,
for the shins.
Tibialis anterior is always kind of weak. One of the things that I use to sort of like test sometimes is I know I just talked about this, but I actually will use a step up. So what I do is I kind of start small and see like, hey, can you essentially like single leg squat yourself, through this depth? Okay. Yeah. And I kind of build up that until you get to a point where you no longer can push from that position, right? At least until you're 90 degrees. Sometimes I have people where they got to like jump off the back leg or they got to pull themselves up or something like that. And that lets me know like, oh, okay, that's sort of the depth where they have control through. And this is the depth where they don't, right? Because if you look at a step up from the side, it's just a squat, right? And you can get it up to that 90 degree and work through that. Maybe you're squatting too much weight and your body isn't ready to allow you to move to that depth, right? So maybe you do have to work on some single leg stuff.
Let's just say it's a bodyweight squat, right?
Yeah, let's just say it's a bodyweight squat, right? And so it's like, oh, okay, well then I'm going to work on my single leg ability to control that, right? And then go back into that squat. I think you're right. I think it has to do a lot with mobility, strength, there's a lot of aspects
I
to
think
this.
a great tool too is to actually use a goblet squat.
Yeah.
And then you sit down in that bottom end range of motion, squeeze and relax, and just learn how to be at that bottom.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just your body's not used to being in that position. So it doesn't allow it to be in that position. That's where the brain comes in hand, right?
Yeah.
It's protecting you.
So,
and it thinks it's doing the right thing, right?
I remember a long time ago, I was squatting at the gym, and there was this guy next to me, and we were kind of putting on weight at the same time. I could tell he was kind of like going a little bit with me. And at one point, I was squatting all the way to depth, like how I normally do. And after a while, he kind of put the rack down, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he was like, "How do you do that?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "How do you get to like that depth like that?" And I was like, "Well, can you do it with just body weight?" And so he was like, "I've never tried." And I was like, "What the-" And so he put his hands out in front of him, like squatted, and like I would say maybe like 75% of the way down, he was just like started to fall backwards, and he was like, "Oh my God, I can't even do it like that." And I was like, "Yeah, bro, you gotta like be able to do it with body weight first, before you even get under a bar." And so practicing those things, like you said, hey, let me get comfortable with that bottom range position. I think a good thing to do sometimes is to start at the bottom and then pull yourself up just slightly off of that box that you're on and hold that position and teach your body like, oh, okay, this is what it feels like to be down here.
All right. Question number 2. What are future health issues do you see people will have, if any? I put mine on there.
Yeah, that's a good one. Or did I just say the same thing? So what did you write?
Well, let me put what I write on there. So I think with Ozempic and Mounjaro that a lot of people are going to lose a lot of weight.
Yeah.
It's going to be great for cardiovascular disease, great for blood pressure, great for diabetes. But the new issue is not when they're in their 50s. It's going to be when they're in their 60s. And they start getting osteopenia, sarcopenia, osteoporosis, and the degradation of muscle and bone.
It's funny because you say that, right? And you're like, okay, this is like a future issue. People will be in not great conditions.
Trainers are locked in.
Yeah. I have a client right now that I just picked up. They're in their 60s. And, I can tell that they really haven't had much work to do in their life. That they've
like
never
the physical labor,
not super active. Yeah, not physical labor. I know their job now is not a laborious job physically, and they just kind of don't really know how to connect to their body right now, right? And so that's kind of what we're working on, learning how to connect through that. How do I brace properly? How to really?
Isn't it cool? You see the progress.
Yeah, it is really cool. Like we just started in that first day. When I realized it, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to start from like ground zero with this. And it was cool though, because I don't really get to do that. But seeing that as a person who grew up before our time, right? And they don't really know how to move their bodies still, they
when things were physical.
When things were physical, right? And I'm sure that they still did some physical stuff when they were younger, right? Like I'm not going to pretend like they just laid in a bed for forever. yeah. But now, like you're saying, in a world where we're way more sedentary, we know this, right? We sit in TV way more. TV didn't even exist back then, I'm sure. We sit in front of PCs and computers and phones.
Should do our
podcast
like standing up.
We should. That would be cool. Yeah. And then to add in things like this where you say, like loss of muscle, loss of bone. I'm like, dude, we're going to be like little freaking bags of jelly when we're 60. You know what I mean? With most people, because it's like they're going to have no muscle mass. They're literally going to have done nothing their whole life. You know what I mean?
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, because even now, it's like I said, in schools, it's like there's not as much getting up and playing or doing activities and stuff. It's, hey, open up your computer and doing that stuff, where most people would have been active, in their young life. Yeah. And so that's kind of scary, bro, to think of it like that. Like that's a pretty big issue.
Yeah. I mean,
because we don't know what this is going to be like.
How many times you hear a statistic like as soon as someone breaks a hip, they're dead?
Yeah. Yeah. For real. Yeah. It's like that's like a death sentence, you break it. And it's not from the hip breaking, but it's everything else because you're immobile. Because you can no longer get up and then you get pneumonia and you fucking die, and that's kind of crazy. I think if I have to choose one, I may go a little bit more like mental health route. Dude, you know what's funny is we did
such a mental health guy.
Such a mental health guy, bro.
How's that nut?
How's that make you feel?
How does it make you feel? Well, it makes me feel kind of like great because
So I don't
mentally
think,
I'm great.
I don't think about all that dumb shit.
Yeah.
So
I don't get my feelings.
I was the other day we talked about that nasal spray that was like supposed to increase oxytocin, right? I saw a fucking commercial for it.
Shut up,
Dude. Yeah, I was watching,
dude, and we're just like artificially doing this.
and it's funny because we had read about the study, right? And it was like to help loneliness, essentially, right? Like that's what they had kind of created it for. Well, in the commercial, they kind of expressed like, oh, it helps with like, it wasn't about that. They kind of like ran around the idea.
No
they were like, oh, it's like for people who suffer from depression or like whatever and stuff like that.
And everybody has depression, anxiety.
Yeah, and then everybody's gonna take this, and then we're all just like puffing oxytocin into our nose, and then it's like, okay, well, what's the fucking side effects of that? You know what I mean? Like, how long?
Artificially oxytocin, like then your body's never going to receive the real oxytocin. Right?
Yeah,
and a lot of times it comes with not oxytocin but dopamine or whatever it is.
And this is I think about it because I'm just like, isn't that almost more isolating? If I then like don't have to go out and like do this task to get that, you know what I mean? And then do that. And the funny thing is that you look at that and like you said, oh, a release of oxytocin, a release of dopamine, a release of all these things. And it just like keeps me going. And we are all like, oh, good. Yeah, that sounds awesome. But then everybody's like, oh, people who are like addicted to porn or drugs or anything else.
Why are you
like
calling
that.
me out?
yeah. So bro, you're just describing me. What the fuck? And it's like, but we're all like, oh, that's bad. Don't do that. But, oh, you want to puff it into your nose? That's cool. That's fine. Because that's not a bad thing to do. You know what I mean? Dude. And so I think that we're kind of on this path of like, hey, you know, what are we doing in terms of all of these like mental health issues and stuff like that? Like, are we just covering up a problem and calling it cool because, you know, Pfizer's going to make a buck, you know, and it's not cool whenever somebody else did something else.
Man, dude, a lot of our solutions are in front of us. The sun, meeting people and having a social life, not working to live, but live, or not living to work, but like just working to live a life and have purpose. And like a lot of the answers are right in front of us.
Going to the gym, working out.
Go to the gym, move, exercise, hunt,
eat a piece of lettuce sometimes. You know?
Fuck the lettuce. Give me some meat. Give me the beef.
I just want to drink hair conditioner because it has all the oils that I need, bro.
That's jizz.
Oh, damn it.
It's great protein.
It's okay. It's natural.
It's all protein. You got many kids down your throat. All right. Question number 3. Why is muscle the only thing talked about when it comes to fitness? You always hear people talk about building muscle, but not how to use muscle or how to be better in a sport.
Oh, that's actually not a bad question.
So I think because we're so infatuated and shallow as humans, we worry about the look versus the function of something.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I've been doing this like kettlebell work lately, and I told you a little bit. And I think it's like, it looks cool, but is it going to build me muscle? Like that would
people do say shit like that. Right? You're totally right. Yeah.
And I think we're just, when we focus so much on the shallow, and we talk about this too, when you chase health, you actually look better versus chasing a look.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, you know, like to be, you know, on this point, it's like the other day I was working out and I had sent Camille a video of me doing some rows. And she was like, do you have any like aesthetic goals? Like, do you have any goals of like just the way you look or anything like that? And I was like, to be honest with you, no. Like, my goal is just to be stronger, you know, get whatever. And however I look because of that is just
a byproduct.
It's just what happens. You know what I mean? I'm not really like trying to shoot for this specific like thing. And it's funny because I sent you a fitness question earlier. And that's from someone I know. And it seems like all they're worried about is just the way they look. Like they're like, how do I get rid of this? You know, and
you need to check out this episode.
I think this is a good episode to listen to. Yeah. And so listening to that, there's like the juxtaposition of those two different things and how you say that, yeah, a lot of the times we do just focus on, well, is it going to make me strong? Is it going to make me big? Is this a good thing? You know, as opposed to like all these other aspects.
I think we look at such a short term in life. And when we look at life that way, we're not happy. But like, I think that's why the ultimate thing is raising kids, right? Because you can't look at the short term. You got to think about their growth over time.
Everything is long term,
and that is more satisfying, right? Or if you look at like when I looked at my grandfather and seen the way he aged gracefully and he was able to be strong and move strong, like, man, like how empowering. You know who the coolest guy in the gym is? The guy who's 60, 70, and they're fucking jacked and like lifting weights.
And that's real as fuck,
and they're moving well.
We're both like gym guys, right? And how many times is like the point of conversation being like, yo, look at that dude, he's old as fuck and he's strong as hell.
And he moves good. Like, damn, he's swinging the kettlebell badass. Like,
yeah. And it's like, I think that's the thing that gets the most attention. It's funny. On Saturday when we were lifting, we were doing squat. I think when we were squatting, that was the first thing that we did. And we were there hella early, like 5:30. And I was looking around the gym and there's some people there. And of course, it's a lot of older people, right? And
it's early, right?
Yeah, it's fucking early, right? They're like half the day's gone. I'm awake for 8 hours already. We pissed 12 times.
I did not see you throwing that one in.
And I was doing my squat and I could tell, I wasn't like looking at him, but I could see out of the corner of my eye that there was this one older dude, and he was like watching us. He was like watching us lift, and I was like, I think that guy's looking at us, and I was like, I wonder what he's thinking. Like, is he thinking that they look stupid, they're lifting too much weight, like that's dumb, whatever it is. And I had just finished my squat and I didn't realize, but he was on the side watching me the whole time. And so I finished it, put it up, and my brother had been recording me, so I grabbed the phone and I kind of laughed at the video and stuff like that. And I looked up and I turned, and the dude was standing right there. And I know y'all can't see me if you're listening to audio, but he was just like, and I was like, hey, thanks, man. I was like, that's really cool. And he was like, yeah, good job. And I was like, that's fucking awesome, dude. And then, but he was there super early. He was fucking working out really hard. He was a little dude, but I could tell that he was like really cut up. And I was like, man, this guy's got to be in his like 60s, and he's at the gym at fucking 5:30.
Dude, it's a habit. It's something you cannot deny that you need in your life.
Right. It's just there's so many aspects to it that are more than just building muscle.
All right, last question. What are the most neglected movements do y'all see in the gym?
Neglected movements.
In a traditional gym setting, I would say untraditional moves.
Yeah,
Zerchers,
anything untraditional.
Jeffersons,
yeah,
kettlebells, mace, Indian clubs. What else is there that's not traditional?
A lot,
But yeah.
I think that
if people avoid pull-ups.
People do avoid pull-ups a lot,
including myself. I'm bad at that.
I can maybe.
I can pull down a shitload. Ask me to do a pull-up.
Not the same, bro. It's like I'm trying to think.
It's the same movement, right?
It's the same muscle.
It's still the lats.
Yeah. You're like, that looks cool, but is it gonna build me muscle? I'm trying to think. I think.
Oh, I got a good one.
Go ahead.
Shit that you see in gyms. Front squat.
I don't see front squat. I don't see anybody doing front squat. I think if I had to pick something, it would be carries.
Oh, yeah, carries.
Especially in like big box gyms. And it's funny too, because where I go crunch, they have like a really large turf area.
Oh, that's better.
It's got a sled.
Doesn't give me an invite ever.
Let's go, bro.
He's too cool to give me an invite to crunch. Won't allow me to use his guest pass.
If I scan it, I'm like, I don't really know.
Dude, I just drove all the way from my house.
Guys following me around. But I never see anybody doing carries or like just stability exercises. Single leg carries, overhead carries, farmer's carries. Really, I don't really see anybody doing those. Front loaded carries. That's one of my favorites. You don't see it ever. I barely. Sometimes a stray. I might see someone doing it. But I never. It's not something that you just see like everybody in the squat rack. There's not a bunch of people hogging up the turf trying to do a farmer's carry.
Let me guess. The turf is used for lunges.
Turf is used for lunges. I do see a lot of people using the sled. People do use the sled. Yeah, so I do see a lot of.
They have made the sled popular lately.
See, I think that's the thing, though.
We talked about that before.
It's just like popular, and so people are just like, "Oh, let's do sled," because it's cool now.
Because knees over toes guy does it,
and it's getting cool, like you said. Like
it could give you extra volume to build bigger muscles.
Yeah. Battle ropes. They have like hooks at one end, and people will just fucking stand there the whole time and do battle ropes. I see it used a lot for stretching. People will sit there and stretch. It's kind of just like an open space, which I guess it is, right? But I think there's so many things that you can do on it that people just don't do.
Cool. All right, guys. If you like what we're doing, check us out on Apple, Spotify. You can rate and review us. Also, we're on YouTube. Subscribe down below. Leave a comment. And we have a website, strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. Our email is strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. Then our social media on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram is Strength Solutions Podcast. I'm Edwin. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin on Instagram.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Until next time, guys. What? Peace out. Deuces.